So it is. Oh, jeez. Sorry, birds. Okay. It has been what I think is, and I approve this with the counters anyways, but what I think is a day and over a day and a half of Nofap hard mode and maybe even some retention. This is actually, now I know I reported like the relapse report thing a week or two ago. Since then, I have basically relapsed more times since then, so I didn't consider this a binge, but when it wasn't more sequences of including the whole trio PMO, then yeah, it ended up being a binge. So, for legitimate reasons, at least that point. So it's been a day and a half now, or more, about maybe an hour, a day and 15 hours. So, and I actually don't feel bad right now. That's not obviously since then, but just I guess whatever the people consider, however people detail this being different or relevant, the ups and downs of life, whether that's normal or not, and people will say it is normal, but it's just however unique that experience may be, and it's associated. But for me, I think I've always had a really interesting fetishized version of how I orient and interact with my surroundings and myself, how I do life, how I don't have to overcomplicate things, but I do that in particular just to make sure I'm fleshing it out. So that's just me, but I love doing that. So I love making it so that I kind of have a bit of I've always had an approach to life where I have an aesthetic for a living that I don't have to pen into this like a phone thing, but for aesthetic for a living, so I don't have to just only live for my own cliches or even anyone else's cliches. I don't have to be like, oh, it should just happen. I'm not always like that. I may not even be like that at all. I don't particularly believe shit happens, because it's just, even if that's true, it's just, there's a different way I orient that. So anyways, what I'm talking about was just basically things that maybe made me feel better or worse on this new streak. I don't have to make this a NoFap vlog, but I just wanted to be able to elaborate a little bit on stuff related to NoFap and maybe even what I do in the meantime. Because besides the fact that urges happen and then don't happen, the flatlines I don't even recognize, like the last one I think, from the 11-day streak. And then even things outside of NoFap where I'm like, oh, I didn't have an urge, but I did have something terrible happen to me, or something that was off center and didn't even feel right. And that can be depending on the situation, it can be different reasons or different meanings, but however that's interpreted. But outside of NoFap urges, you can also get things that cause you to feel bad in the meantime that could also reason itself out into a relapse. I just saw like all the same. But I don't. What I really understand from now is that even without knowing myself completely, obviously, but I know myself well enough with introspection, contrary to the popular belief that I don't look from within, which is why that phrase bothers me so much now, because I've heard that saying from somebody, and it just ticked me off. It was like, it's literally like, how would you know through materialism or superficialness that I actually spent my money in a way that I didn't mean to do any better with, instead of saving, which I've done the entire time anyways. So it's I should really just let go of the criticism, obviously, but it's just I even had it in forms for like content creation where it's like I've heard this in a good way. Don't whoever you are, don't get this twisted. I don't mean it in a bad way. I've always loved the criticism about my content creations from fellow creators and all that, but just but I had to think about them anyways in a good way, hopefully. So don't worry about it. But I had to think about things like quality and niching down and thumbnails and all that. And it wasn't so much that I had to worry about what people thought and their opinions, but just at least consider them and not throw them away and dismiss them, compared to the people who have betrayed me in the past of my own life story and my own story times, which I could easily make later on, even with animations actually, or just drawings. I might do story time videos, that's what I'm trying to say. I might do story times, and I might be able to do them in a way that it can orient itself better with those kind of things. So, and this real quick, so I can do something real quick. So I'll be right back. So yeah, we're back. It helped to really look at that recording again while I was waiting to have a time to do it. Jesus, the thing that ticks me up about that wasn't so much that I had a pause the recording. It was that I used the recording resourcefully and brilliantly, but I used it brilliantly while I was waiting, and then I was like, wait, the second I can go back, everyone actually finally leaves me alone. No, I'm not an introvert. No, believe me, I'm not an introvert. I'm 40% extrovert. It means something. Believe me, that makes me ambivert. No, okay. Yes, the negotiation, ambiversion. Oh my god. But yeah, anyways, yeah, I didn't want to have to wait until literally the last second that I'm done looking through the recording that everything finally settles down. Like, that kind of irritates me. I call it, I don't call it, people have different callings for a lot of things, including like in school. In high school, they had really cool sayings or stuff like how people moved in the hallways, like boomerang, where you turn around the second you're moving in one direction, and the wall where you're walking with your friends, like a Jolly Go Merry, Wizard of Oz style thing. That's a little bit relevant to what I'm saying now, but it's funny stuff like that. But yeah, like my saying for this would be that it's like it's a recursory diaphragm. I don't know. Basically, I just had to wait. I had the opportunity only arose in one labyrinth style fashion. It didn't have to be literally the only option, but it was such that I had to wait. Like literally, the thing I'm describing right now was literally waiting until the last second to conveniently look through the recording, and then everything settles down. That's what I'm bothered by. So it's really that simple for me, but I like to make it complicated because, like I said before in the last recording of the same video, hopefully, is that I don't what was it? Is that I prefer to overcomplicate things even if they could be simple, basically. That bit though. Yeah, so yeah, we have a 4-minute 43-second recording I have to add to the beginning of this video, if I can attach them together on the video editor. I have a power app director and Filmora Go to do that for me if I choose either one of them. And then I could spend more on Nofap for this one. I just wanted to. There will be an edit video on this video regardless. So, oops. But if I don't even trim anything, but I am on day 1 in 15 hours. It doesn't feel bad except for maybe a little bit of tension every once in a while. It's just that some of that is even normal, but it's like maybe even all of it. Who knows? But I don't think people understand what I mean when I say that I don't know what stress is like, and I don't know what boredom is like, and I don't know what overwhelm is particularly like, and that I don't. And that if I really wasn't the person who could look from within, why am I so good at introspection? You know, why would I be the kind of person who doesn't save money, or doesn't value people's opinions? Why is it that there's topsy-turvy polar extremes in the way people see me and how I see myself? That's supposed to happen anyways, but it's been so stringent on the idea that I wouldn't have approached these things any better. And even from minorities of people who have actually been through the same things I have, and they still thought I was the outcast, and that I was the one who didn't get it, and that I was the one who didn't who already knew what to do, but they didn't do it, whatever, you know. And then like I said in a tweet earlier ago, that people who really know that I do everything for a reason, they don't have to use my intelligence as a guideline to see if I'm following through with my own brilliance or not. They just know I'm brilliant to begin with. They know that my intelligence is beyond intelligence itself. Not in a egotistical way. I mean like in a way that's undescribable, because you know, many people already understand that intelligence varies. It doesn't have to be one thing or the other. And one thing I'll tell you is that something that actually really bothers me symbolically is a bullseye target. And I've seen people use examples of bullseye targets in a very fair and understandable way. But I can compare this to Shell, John Propel, the claymation series I was going to make later on about science communication. It was the Shell, John Propel goes against clarity, qualifications, and justice. And it's like, the way it goes is that you never use anything in a shallow manner in the faucet of facts and logic. And there's a way to do this without being BSing and without making it sound like you don't know what you're doing, because the connections are it's the connections that can make this count and matter, and even should. I even use words like significance and fascination very beautifully. When I look at things like facts will care about your feelings, or here in the information age, you know, I love to debunk things like social justice warrior, information age, facts don't care about your feelings, etc. But with science communication and things like Shell and Propel, the approach with that series was to basically go about an idea where you don't have to be shallow about something to prove that it can succeed, or not succeed. And even when it can't succeed, it doesn't have to be shallow even then. There's a bigger expansion on that. That's why I thought it would be appropriate for science communication. So yeah, I'm gonna maybe turn this back into Nofap again. But this is already gonna be almost 10 minutes long, so I'll keep talking for now. But yeah, I feel good on this streak. I know people have regarded this as being like, oh, don't talk to me until you're 30 or 40 days in. It's an embarrassment to think you're achieved something otherwise. Oh yeah, day 15 is all right, but wait until you get to 20 and 30. Okay, but the experience is different for everybody. It's like, it's different for everyone. Even people who know what the 9-day streak has been, not just culturally, but even generally speaking, on the understandable general level. I think that generalizations and universalities, they're not supposed to be bad, but people can use them very poorly. So it's like, they can seem like they're only bad or only good, but And I've had a big philosophy aspect of things like, can something only be good or bad? I've mentioned this before with many people, I think. But it's just, people who have had the 90-day streak and they still thought they had to overcome something, and the people who thought they already overcame it to a good enough milestone, there's a good difference but understandable similarity as well between milestones and indefinitenesses. There's beauty and curses in both, but it's like literally like I would rather see a beauty in both of them in a cliche but really beautiful way. What I would say is that I see for myself that there's a milestone with just PMO alone in Nofap. There's already a milestone with that in semen retention. There's a milestone in that if I achieve that, it's not that I'm seeking a finite, goal-oriented, arbitrary clarity. And I don't even mean like a shell jump pro way, oops, qualification justice. But seeking some kind of a understandable clarity that if I had a certain kind of milestone, it would not be the all be end all, one size fits all thing. It would just be like, it would expand more doors for sure, and maybe be infinite from there, indefinite or whatever. But it would also be that there would be something that I would have already had acclaimed based on some truth of my past, present, future, that I don't have to be like, oh, it's Nofap and then nothing else, because I still understand what the challenge versus lifestyle aspect of that is. I kept saying that before, but people keep saying as all the same that it's not a challenge, it's a lifestyle, and I don't get that cliche. It's like literally like I know what it means, but I don't want to banter and stuff like that if I don't believe it. I know that I know what the truth is behind it, but I just clarify my own unique personality, I guess, without the anti-shell jumper way. But it's amazing. You have to see it that people who are on lower streaks, they're going through something that could be unique. It may not be as much as you've been going through, but it's still unique to them. And it's just, anyone who's having to struggle with that ideal of only one world where they have to give up something that oddly specific, sexualized. They have to give something that oddly specific in order to have everything else in their life function properly, and even beyond that. And it's a very beautiful thing, not just because of the journey, but because of not just because of what you get from the journey, but because of the journey itself. It's literally, I get that's what they connect with the lifestyle versus challenge thing, but I would just say that the journey there is both a detailment from destination than if it was just only either milestone or infiniteness. With infiniteness, it's things like learning never ends, which could be shallow or insightful either way. And there's also, with the milestones, it could also be shallow or insightful. It's like milestones would be things like, if only this would happen, then my life would be good, which can be seen as shallow in one regard. At least one people think it's only shallow, but by the way, I do these vlogs because I know at least some people care. Some people have told me that they want to hear more of my thoughts, and that vlogging would be suitable for me, even if it's not niched down, even if this is still confusing and not well edited, But I've already been concentrating on the fact that as a Nofap, I'm not using these advocate. That's gonna be traumatizing for some of the reasons, I guess. Oops, I can spend that later, but yeah, it's just but having to know that I was on this grind. And I was so concentrated, I did clamations and did other things in the meantime. It's pretty beautiful. I don't dismiss that too much. I was planning on going to 35 minutes with this whole video, including the 4 minutes of before. So if I get to like 30, I can stop. But if I don't go to that in the first place, I'm gonna run out of breath very soon anyway. So I'll try to get to maybe 20 and match up, maybe. Unless I keep talking past 15, then I get to 25 or 30. I do want to get to 30 though. I wonder what I'm gonna say and run completely out of breath by then about, because this recording would have to get to 30, and then the other recording is 44 minutes, and then whatever cuts this in half. If it's cut in half right now, I would have to record for another 20 minutes, and then yeah, that'd be pretty cool. If I get some water right now and then come back outside. I'm good though. I'll keep it running. You're going to notice in the moment that I'm going to run out of breath anyway, so But I do feel therapeutic about talking to myself like this. I just, even for the last 3 minutes while I was talking about nothing else other than, am I going to keep recording? But, yeah, Nofap was just, don't disqualify anyone's streaks, even if they're not legitimately like they're doing it right or struggling enough, because you don't know what that may mean for them. We don't typically know anyone else's struggle other than ours, unless we look at a mirror and our struggle so much to compare to theirs. However that works with mirrors. Not gonna even make fun of Will Smith's kid at the point, because I understand that what that kid's going through honestly a little bit, if I do, which is contradicting what I just said, but this is not making fun of it in a bad way, but I think it's Aiden Smith. Yeah, okay. Poor kid. I think even Will Smith went through his own trouble shit too before. Both Will and Aiden went through pretty bad stuff. And even Morgan Freeman, Jesus. Jesus. Well, it's so anyone who's actually been on a streak that's been long as F, like beyond 1,000 days, salute to that. Obviously, salute to that. But it's just, I did that fakely. I'm sorry, but it's just really anyone who has been on the streak, whether it's intense, too intense for them or not. And some people have been really intense withdrawals, whether they PMO or not. But people who have actually been on the streaks for like to having to prove that they've been addicted in the 12 plus years people addicted, in the 30 plus years addicted people. Jesus, I do feel really bad for those people. But I'm in my own grind right now. I don't have to only worry about them. I know my own troubles are pretty bad too, but I just don't have to say it maybe in perhaps a selfish way. But I know for myself that I feel a lot of weird kinds of urges. Like I feel like mind controls, and I feel that people don't understand that I haven't actually comprehended my emotions. So when I seemingly don't have emotions, but they're still kind of present in a way that people can already see them, or maybe even I can see them, I just don't recognize them, then yeah, that's pretty annoying. There's somber joys, and truths that people know that I don't know, and that they expect me to know, but I don't really know. So, or even somber facts, somber joys from the facts that people know. Ooh, tough. There was a teacher once that told me about like how truths and facts were different, and that disgusted me because I know I knew that he was right, but it was like, but the way he expressed it was very off-center. Not the tonality, so much the attitude even, but the way he did, the perspective, in a nutshell. That's why I always keep expressing. There's a Rain Man kind of aspect that covers 20% of my vocabulary. It's literally like any word I hear, or even say myself, that happens to give me a traumatic emotional memory, I try to either avoid it without. I don't want to become the people who betrayed me. That's another story I think for later, if I can express it in the same video. But I don't want to have to be like the person who betrayed me. But when I have traumatic words from those people who may have betrayed me, perhaps, then I hear it and I say it and I'm like, okay, shit. If I say this word, it's gonna remind me of that, and I can push through it, or I can avoid it and still be cowardly, I guess. But it's very interesting. I just and then in that Rain Man perspective, which is, if you've seen the movie, it's like literally he goes to an airport with his brother, and his younger brother is basically trying to figure out how to get him to ride a plane without remembering any of the historical events that happened to the crashes of those airplanes, and with no luck, he actually happens to remember every single one, having at least one crash or more, and that's what traumatizes him from pretty much every single craft in the station. And I've always used that as kind of a memeified version of how I deal with things. Emotional memory, they don't always like Temple Grandin and even other autistic professors. They don't always cover this well. They cover a great deal of ground for the autism spectrum disorder in particular. So I'm grateful for that. But the one book that I did read that wasn't from an autistic person, so from a neurotypical, perhaps I guess, a neurotypical professor, he covered emotional memory, and from the bit I read of that, I was already pretty pleased. I was actually, again, the Rain Man's aspect. So any of these words I use, like pleased or whatever, is going to bother me in some degree or another because the emotional memory and connections I make between those things. However, we can't make it out. But having to know that emotional memory, in his own words, professor's words, the neurotypical, that emotional memory can cause you to have a memory of something in a good or bad way from a branching bridge of far blasting to the past. And I don't even define these as blast to the past because I know that even 20 plus memories in the past would be the beginning of my birth, I guess. But even that doesn't seem like a blast to the past. It's just, I remember a lot and even particular things from my kind of ordeal, but I don't have to see it as being too far in the past for some reason. Maybe because I felt long or short-lived, who knows, or have a degree. However I define that, fear or not, I don't know, fear or not, but however that means, whether I'm hiding about that or not. But emotional memory is just is a very fascinating thing for even neurotypical to be able to word that. I'm glad I read that part about him before I got lost touch of that book. And then kept reading Temple Grandin's book and the other, Sean Goodman's or whatever. Or Temple and Sean, reading their perspectives on autism spectrum disorder. So it was, yeah. So yeah, I just I've been coming perspective. I've been on Nofap. Anything I can elaborate that doesn't have to make me feel like I'm in the moment, or I'm not trying to say words constantly just to make sure I have a recording that you don't get bored of. If you're even already 23 minutes into the video, I'm very grateful for that. But I could pause for a moment. I did that every once in a while in my other videos. Pause my talking without pausing the video. But I mostly was out here just to record this to feel better, because I wasn't dealing with a lot, but I had to make sure that I wasn't in good terms. I may have been feeling a bit of aggression. Again, I don't feel stressed the way people think I do. That's why I say I don't know what it's like, or I never technically experienced it. So, in boredom, and the other thing is I keep listening to fashion pattern like that, or ritual like that, and segmentations. But I don't. Yeah, it's a video like this, so I'm gonna elaborate stuff like that. I may have felt some kind of aggression. I may have felt some kind of well, shit, if I carry through with this without dealing with it right away, even if I don't deal with it right or better, at least how that works, at least it would be dealt with in a good enough way that it wouldn't have to be consensual. It wouldn't have. This is hard to word, not because of trauma, but it's because of traumatic emotional experiences, I guess. But however, and I always face my fears. Like, believe me, I always face my fears. Even if it looks like I'm avoiding something, it's because on accident or something usually. But I usually face my fears because I know that if I avoid them, I'll be like the people who betrayed me. And I don't have to worry about that kind of criticism or that kind of overcomplication, but it's like, I do face my fears pretty much 100% of the time. People who think that I don't do any better or don't try or give up, how the heck do you get to that conclusion? Oh wait, never mind, I understand. It's because you guys have a polar extreme perspective from me. And that's me saying that, but it's like, really, how much closer to the truth do I need to get? Like, if I'm not even close. Or facts. Facts and truth. But I just you can tell how much strifeful and torment I can convey like this, acting like I know what I'm saying, but I really have to be careful sometimes, because I know that I shouldn't have to care about what I say, but at the same time I have to be careful anyways. And there's balance to that, and that's balance that I use all the time. I always care about balance, but it just, like, you can tell I'm nervous right now, and I know I've been nervous. I don't know if it's just because I'm a porn addict, or because I've had too much trauma to deal with, which I face the fears of regardless 100% anyways, but which may make it desensitizing me. And I don't like these words desensitized, because it makes me look like someone who can fetishize, like other normal people, the idea of being emotionally numb, as if that's what you would prefer or what has actually happened to you. I don't think I'm emotionally desensitized. I think I call it emotional numbness and emotional dampening. I think I even called it emotional not losing touch with my emotions. I don't have no emotions. It's not that I have zero emotions. It's that I don't have to. I'm not in connection with it. I'm not in connection and frequency with them. I want to be able to talk in my frequency. I want to be able to reach them. They're not gone. They're just not in touch. So people who have seen me as an aggressor, who have seen me become a temper tantrum, that's at least one aspect I didn't ever get to understand, because I never actually saw myself as an angry person before. People who have seen me as a very angry person, I don't know how to see it that way. Even if it's been literally in front of my face, I don't know how it even gets to that point. I don't know if I ever get to that point myself, or if it's something that has happened because of what makes people think I'm angry. So that's just one emotion that's in particular. Maybe I'm trying inside out at that point, but I never seen myself as an angry person, even if it's literally happened before. That's what I'm trying to say. So I've seen that. I think I know how my sadness works. I think I know how it works. I may be bragging or bluffing when I say that I've been depressed, but I prefer to say that I'm depressed, and then I would rather that I accidentally lie about being depressed and actually become depressed later on clinically, than if I never admit anything about it in particular, or even try to, even if it's not supposed to be a try. But I felt like depression was my fetish too, but anger not so much. I've always felt like disgust was something I didn't have to feel, but I feel like disgust is the strongest one. Fear and joy, they come and go, but joy I have in a very interesting way. Fear I have in an interesting way too, but just disgust seems to be my most intense emotion, because I feel disgust for a lot of things that I didn't know how to define that way, and that was very interesting. But we are actually about to get into the 27-minute mark. So if I want to get to 35 minutes, I can talk for 8 more minutes at 20 around battery. But you see what my headset says. 60 still. I'm probably even getting audio from the headset too. I can talk for 8 more minutes. This is going to be wonderful. I get to have a 35-minute recording like I said I would. And run out of tonality in my speech. Or a 40-minute recording like I would do traditionally with the last video I did. That would happen that way. In my room. With no, not seeing right now. I'm not doing this like long form video, if that's even what it is, to vent or to. Technically I am, but not to only vent or not to only like go crazy or whatever. But just technically crazy to me would be 2+ hours without it being a live stream and without it being planned, and without it being like actually coordinated well. That's the last thing that would actually matter to me, is if I was coordinating without a plan or intention that still made sense, because then it would still be logical to me. That's to me, but that's for me. But I am going to try to stop this at 35 minutes total for all the recordings, and then I'm going to see if I because I always look through these videos anyways. I always enjoy listening to them. Not even just to spend or waste my time, but to actually using the time in a way where I know that it won't matter, even if it's literally impossible to watch a 2 or 4 hour video in the free time I have after work or whatever. But yeah, that'll at least be the live streams. But yeah, 7 to 6 more minutes. Well, so I covered Nofap. I covered a bit of my unique perspective again. I expressed a few other thoughts about things I felt. It's just I do want to be present in the moment. I know that doesn't need like evidence. I would use pun words like instead of proof of existence, i.e. Lamb-Dog6's video. You can check it out if I put a video card in here somewhere. But instead of proof of existence, proof of emotion, based on the last thing I just said. But things like where I don't have to live in the moment in form of a concentration or a video format or a video proof, as per, not Asperger's. I meant like as per that ideal. Jesus, sorry. Telling all that back throughout the whole video. But I just but having to know that I could just like meditate or be still in the world and not be present in the moment without having to use a recording. I do get what people mean when they say don't have a live stream in the middle of the woods or take selfies all the time. Just enjoy it. I get that, but there is a beauty to sharing that stuff. There really is. You don't have to be so braggart that either way, whether you were trying to be mindful without a proof of it. I think this is the weirdest thing. Even science communicators make this excuse. They're like, oh, I can't show my comp sci work. I can't show you the code I typed for this computer program because it takes so long to make that making even one video would not show you the whole scoop. I don't give a fuck. Like, just show the proof. It doesn't have to show anything. Just try. Like, science communicators, make your science videos. Don't just be like, oh, but there's nothing that'll make sense of this video. It'll just be a useless content creation. Look at me. I make variety content like 24/7. I niched down at some point in 2019. That was okay. It actually made me feel good about the fact I always tried it. But then I was like, okay, what else do I try? And the experimentation side of me will try that anyways. I see this so much. I think the weirdest thing with proof of existence isn't so much that you can try to be mindful and still, like the last Deep Talk episode 3 I made with that in mind. But if you were going to try to actually like show that you weren't trying to be attention whore, which I don't believe in even then, and people say that that's still evident and it can still be observed. I understand that, but it just, how would you know if not showing something is still see, there's a very unique and complicated thing about this, but it just, for me, it's not so much that I need proof for everything. Like I've always seen it that facts and logic and even evidence have a very weird articulation. I could even put a meme post in this at this point, like the one with the villain from Body of Proof is like, but a body can lie, and I'm like, yeah, he's the villain. I know he's being convoluted, but at least there's a truth on that. It's like the evidence and facts and logic. There's a curtailing. I've experienced this very weirdly myself, where there's a curtailing of how things that you already have observed, and even knew the exact guaranteed way it would happen or not happen at all. And how I worded this in Deep Talk episode 3, mandatory, forbidden, all that. In the philosophical, artsy way, I guess you could say creative, and a visionary, Wonderland kind of thing. Alice in Wonderland. I can get to that later, but Alice in Wonderland syndrome, but it just, there are ways that those things like facts, logic, evidence, they can curtail in a very convoluted way. They don't have to be what you think they are, guaranteed or guaranteed not. No. Life is more complicated than that. You have to learn from experience how these things work. That's the same show anyways. The other show, Madam Secretary, not Body Proof, but I'm trying to look for that clip. That's amazing. The one where she's talking to her daughter. Jesus. But I see this too much. I'm like, content creators and people who just share the videos on the internet, all the same. You guys could be careful, but even then, you're still kind of being a coward because you don't. Look at me doing this whole video for 35 minutes total with no consequence considered to maybe how I could regret making a video that isn't that well edited for something like this, and then still know that I had something to get from it without being selfish. It's just, I know how that's going to work because I tried it like 100 plus times, and even then I need more experience. But that's because that experience is coming with the fact that life for me has become complicated both by choice and by demeanor. And I know how people say misdemeanor in a convoluted way. I get ticked off about that as well, but at least with the legalities and the legal system, criminal justice, whatever. I don't know. I still love lawyers though. I do love attorneys. I'm gonna need one anyways for some of this stuff, but but you have to put it that we're gonna have maybe 35 to 40 for this video. So, comm sci people, science communicators, not even just engineers, even people like artists and creatives. Just show your work. There's a complicated thing that comes in, an insightful thing for me that comes into not having proof for something that you still know worked better. But there's a polar extreme and a polar opposite for that stuff, and that's understandable for me because I've been there before. I've been that topsy-turvy, upside down. I've been there sideways many times. But on the one half where you could show something, please just show it, even if you regret it, even if you get in trouble. On the other hand, I'm not having proof where a body can lie. Yes, I understand. Then in that case, try to make it so that you don't have to prove it in order for it to be elegantly proven otherwise. I don't know how to explain that, but it's like, that's the dilemma on the other side of that. But, and now the sun's shining because I'm being a brilliant piece of shit. But I mean, I love myself. I do love myself. I even just made a tweet earlier that a great gratitude tweet, I guess. So, but, yeah, 30 minutes in this one recording alone, and then 4 and 43. Okay. But, So I'll go for 36 on this one and then add to this 4 for there. So that'll be 40. Or 38, I don't know. Because 38 would be 4 more. Okay. Last thing I could say for this video, and this is to be timeless, even though it'll literally be timed for a 30+ minute video. But to be timeless for this, I do believe everything happens for a reason. I do believe that you have to make it that you don't. I'm making the last half of this video the energetic part. Holy shit! But it's not gonna edit it though. Just gonna add the other clip to it. But I believe everything happens for a reason. Even with that speech coming from the Phoenix Masonries, that were seen as convoluted people that were very corrupted and evil, whatever. Even if this is the way I can connect this to my other beliefs, is that my other core beliefs is that even no matter the sifting strategy, you can choose what you keep and lose from the advice you've been given and thinking things you just listen otherwise to. Because I'm getting this speech, everything happens for a reason, for people who are seen as evil villains. I'm still learning this from them, even if it's not actually evil advice in itself. But I'm learning from people who are evil, technically, and I know how to apply it in a good way. Even if they're not evil, especially, I can still learn regardless of having to worry about them, you know? That's the beauty of it. It's like, when you sift what you learn and choose not to learn, and you have anti-mentors and mentors alike, and you're able to know that what you did consider or drop, however shallow or stuff like can be in the exchange of that, you can make it that you can mold your own experiences. Now, I've been pretzel twisted on this a lot. Like I said before, I'm an introspective person who's been seen as someone who doesn't look from within as easily, which is not true, technically, to me. And I've also been seen as someone who should be using my own judgment, even though I am still a very good, patient person. If that doesn't make a connection or irrelevancy. People have told me that they don't see a connection to something where they could have already made a connection. That doesn't have to be a contradiction, but it could also be more into that. That only I would complicate for that moment from them, if even. But I said this once in a tweet, and I think someone noticed it, that if you show more proof of existence in ways that you don't have to do, but you can still give them a chance, you'll get credit from those things. You'll get credit from them universally, from the ideal of the universe. You'll be credited some way or another. I'm hoping you would. I'm praying that you would get credit for showing proof of existence in a way that doesn't have to happen. Doesn't have to be Murphy's Law kind of thing, if even being that contrary, or what's the other word? Conspirative? No, it's like a coercive. I freaking forgot. It's not contrary. It's something like this. Something else. It's a word. When in Assassin's Creed they said it's like this. It's like the phrase was everything is true, everything is permissible, nothing is true, and it's like, and then the word that came after that from the other character was isn't that a little? It's not touching me right now. I'm sorry. It's not getting to my head right now. It's okay. But please just try. Please, there's a beauty in how choosing not to act as an action itself. That's an insightful quote from a psychologist in the old newspaper, I guess. It was like a old senior citizen newspaper, but they said that choosing not to act is an action in itself. And that's supposed to be insightful, and thus not so much the ideal of Kingdom Hearts, which was one who knows nothing, understands nothing. But I'm already mentioning a few video games in this video. But pop culture references, I don't even prefer to make examples or references, or even know how to sometimes. So just, we got 2 more minutes. I'll say that when you know that, on the one hand, choosing not to act is an act in itself, that's not supposed to be shallow. It's not supposed to be, if you don't do anything, nothing will change. Okay? However shallow you can be about that, which is my insightful perspective and beauty of that. How I make a connection between that and everything else, and disconnect some things I shouldn't have been disconnected. Which I never saw myself as someone who disconnected something on purpose, but I always saw, and maybe even a free speech style connection of that comparison, was that like how some people will say that free speech is the answer, not less of it. Maybe I wasn't comparing like that, but it was more like connection is the answer for me usually, not so much disconnection. And then I hate the word prefer, by the way. It's connected to the Rain Man thing I mentioned earlier in the video, which is the 20% of feeling like everything I remember, emotional memory. It could be trauma or joys otherwise, or even somber joys. But yeah, stay still, everyone, because stop motion is on the move. I'm going to end this at 35:17, so it compares to 4:43. And other than that, I hope you have a good or at least okay day. And if you don't finish the whole video, that's okay. Just do what you can in your own life, and I hope you do the very best. Thank you very much, guys. See you guys.